So we've all started new things. We've all started things that maybe we don't exactly know what it is going into it. A lot of gray area and things like that, jobs, internships, classes, anything that you can imagine. You all kind of have an idea going into it, but you're not quite sure. Well, as Kyle stated, I was the first graphic design intern with the Washington Wild Things, and I am here to tell you how awesome I am at that. No, I'm joking. But with that said, there was a lot of gray area going into this internship. And I will discuss that going through my presentation here for you guys. So to start off, I had some personal goals going into this internship for myself. I wanted to really revolutionize their social media. As somebody who I've done graphic design for about 5 or 6 years by myself, freelance, and I really saw a potential here to elevate the Wild Things brand to something new, something that is undeniably the Wild Things. And as you can see, I mean, the top, it's good. It gets the job done. It gets, you understand it. You can see everything on there. But the bottom is undeniably something that is the Wild Things. It's unique, something for the Wild Things, only for the Wild Things. And so through this internship, I wanted to build my portfolio and expand into motion graphics. Those are sort of personal things that I've wanted to do. Motion graphics is something that a lot of people are seeing now on social medias. That's something that I feel like any business nowadays in the 21st century really needs to delve into to separate themselves from the pack. And that's what I wanted to bring to the Wild Things. So what did I actually end up doing? I'll go more in depth into these and I'll show you examples of everything that I did, as I have hundreds and hundreds of graphics that I created. But I had day-to-day graphics tasks every day. I would come in and do all sorts of things that needed done that day, mainly headshots that would go up on the video board for each player whenever they pitch or hit or anything like that. And I did revitalize the social media graphics. That is something that I was able to accomplish. That's something that I'm very proud of. And then also extracurricular activities, which are different from Zach's extracurricular activities, as I did get to do some extra things on top of what it was that I was doing for graphic design towards the end of my internship. So people on the job, I won't introduce Kyle again fully, but he was the person who I went to. There was a lot of gray area, so we had a lot of interactions where we would talk about different things that I felt like could be done or could be changed or something like that, and we would talk about it and figure out sort of what we actually wanted to accomplish. So he was my supervisor. He's the one who I went to. He greenlit all of the projects that I worked on. The interns. So these are all of the people who we worked with. As you can see, Logan has the Wild Thing shoes up to his head. Not sure how that happened, but it did. But they all turned into my friends throughout the entire summer. You spend so much time with them working through stuff and having a ton of new experiences, and you get really close to these people who I do still talk with to this day. So that was something that was really special, I feel like, with the Washington Wild Things. And so my primary challenge and challenges going into this internship, as I stated before, there was an unclear role. It was the first time for the internship, and there was uncertainty as to what needed done. I did talk with Kyle a lot before the internship to kind of try to figure it out, and we had talked about things like the program. Whenever you come into the field, you get the program, and it has a calendar on it and everything like that. That was already finished whenever I come in, and we talked about maybe doing like a billboard or something. That wasn't something that we did. So that kind of gave me this figure it out mentality of what can I do to bring value to the Washington Wild Things? What can I do whenever I show up to really give them something that is special and something that hasn't been done before? And that led me down into a place where I learned a lot at the Washington Wild Things. I ended up figuring out how to establish a routine whenever I showed up. So I would show up, get to the field early, about 2 hours early, along with Logan and all the rest of the interns. We typically would get there about 2 hours to an hour early, and urgent tasks before the game. So if we signed a new player or something like that, the headshot photo would be taken or whatever before I got there, maybe sometimes not. We would take that photo and then cut it out and put them on our graphic for the video board. So that's the headshots. That would be kind of the stuff that needs done that day. And then we would do the future projects during the game. So that was kind of my exploratory time, where I would do the social media, I would do the motion graphics, all those kinds of things I would do during the game, while the game is going on. And so I feel like this did carve my own niche. This kind of created a role where now they're still hiring for another graphic design intern this summer. So that kind of created a role where it was needed, and it was something that helped the company and the brand and everything move forward. And so let's move into the work that I did produce while I was there at the Washington Wild Things. So this is a selection of 2 headshots that I produced. So this was the daily work. This was sort of stuff that I would do every day whenever I showed up to the field. But we had theme nights. There were dozens of them, all kinds, and this allowed me to explore a lot of creative ideas. I mean, Abraham Seguera as Maui from Moana is a pretty good idea if you ask me, and Scotty DeBrule looks like a pretty good Spider-Man. So this kind of let me do my own thing, but at the same time having a direction that we were given with the theme nights. And it kind of made the players get to get involved in something like that. It felt like it was a very fun way for me to show up and do something different every day, even if it is very similar. This did improve my photo manipulation skills a lot. I didn't include any of the first ones, but they were not great. And then moving into here, I mean, these are a lot better. Very clearly, they look like pretty much what you would expect if somebody was wearing a costume. And so moving forward, this was my largest project, the social media revamp. It is only 9 whole graphics. However, that did take a long time to get to it. It was a lot of trial and error in trying to figure out what the Wild Things brand really needed, as there wasn't really, we had brand guidelines, but there wasn't really anything like this for social media that we had went through or talked about. So this created a new brand look and diversified their social media posts. This allowed them to really dive into what it is that makes the Wild Things tick, I suppose you could call it. And I feel like moving forward here, this was all for Instagram stories, and then Facebook or anything like that. It's a very similar layout, so somebody looks at it, they know that it's the Wild Things. And I feel like that sort of really gave their social media something like a little punch forward from the other teams. And also here, so this was the one-off project. So this was my own personal work that I brought to the Wild Things. This is where I focused on a lot of my own self-improvement while bringing value to the Wild Things, and it improved the Wild Things brand because it allowed them to move into motion graphics here, which that GIF is going to keep playing. But that is a GIF that I made. There's a bunch of them, all kinds of different things that can happen during a baseball game they can use to post on social media. That's just something extra that kind of brought forth more value. And then there's a one-off graphic whenever Andrew Check broke the most walks in a single season for the Washington Wild Things. And so here were my extracurricular activities. I actually got to be a camera operator. If anyone knows me in this department, I only do graphics, really. That's all that I'm known for, is doing graphics and whatnot. So this gave me a lot of insights into other parts of the production. I was able to talk to a director and a producer and kind of learn how the camera operators work, and this gave me a much broader scope to what it is that makes productions tick, rather than just the graphics. And with that said, I would like to say thank you. There was National Hot Dog Day, one of my favorite memories there at the Washington Wild Things. And then on Kids Night, we were able to be on the field for some fireworks, so that was a pretty fun experience there to be able to see that. But with that said, I will open it up to any questions if anybody has any. Maya.
So with your extracurricular activities and you not really operating any cameras, since you've done it, is that something that you would be interested in continuing to do, or are you going to stick mainly with the awesome graphics?
I think I'm still a very much designer, but it did give me more of a broad scope as to what a designer needs to know. It gave me more of an idea of sort of the other parts of the production that can help me in making my graphics better towards like the production overall. Yeah, how can I help you?
What were some of the adjustments you had to make personally from maybe when you were presenting, that you went from just being a graphics guy to also being a guy who was a camera op?
So whenever I was asked to be a camera op before, I think it had happened once about halfway through the summer. I don't remember if I said no or if Kyle just gave it to somebody else, but I kind of dragged my feet, I think, and he saw that, and I didn't mean to because I did enjoy it. But halfway through, maybe 3/4 of the way through the summer, a lot of the interns had to leave to go back to school. So like start of August-ish we lost a lot of interns, so it kind of made me wear multiple hats, and I enjoyed it. It kind of, let me enjoy that in a different way, enjoy being at the Wild Things in a different way. Logan.
Being in sports now with graphic design, is that a field you want to stay in? Do you want to stay in sports graphic design, or do you want to branch out more?
Yeah, I mean, not everybody, but here at Waynesburg, I played baseball, obviously, and that's kind of been a big part. So I really do enjoy baseball and sports. But it would be something that I would love to do, but it's a very tough nut to crack whenever you're first getting into it. So it's something that I definitely would be looking forward to in the future getting into, yeah. Okay, well, that'll wrap up my presentation, and we will move into Seth Berdolt.